Hi, and welcome back to Continual. It's another episode of Hot Off the Press, the show about new releases and the authors that bring them to you. I'm your host, Jim Nettles, and, well, we have a couple of usual suspects bringing in and stacking up those to-be-read piles. So, Jenny, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Gini Koch. I write the Alien Katherine Kitty Kat series, formerly for Dog Books and now for Ginger Blue Publishing. I also write under a variety of other pen names and in all lengths and genres.
Ken?
I'm Ken Lange. I write science fiction, fantasy, lit RPG, you name it. I'm pretty much going to try my hand at it at some point. And that's got a new book coming out, so I think that's why we're here.
Well, let's start with the fun premise, because I know both of these are ongoing and existing series. So let's kind of play with, we usually talk about the world building, right? The world we're stepping into, all the fun stuff. Well, let's kind of shape around that. But because, again, I know both of these are existing series and one that we've talked about a fair amount, let's dive deeper into that, right? So Jenny, where are we at in this particular one?
This is book 17, the long-awaited book 17. It's finally done. It's finally out. It released in April, so last month. And Kitty and 11 others from her universe are zapped into the steampunk universe. And so they are kind of in the same place, but not really. So it's all steampunk all the time. And there's a gigantic religious war going on that, per Kitty, we've been thrown here because your side's losing. So, and we can tell. So it's a lot of meeting your counterparts, meeting other people's counterparts, discovering some people don't get counterparts, and so on. And along the way, lots of typical Alien series mayhem and sarcasm, because the whole team is big on sarcasm.
Well, let's actually talk a little bit, because, again, it's only taken, 17 years to get the 17th book out after the last one, something like that.
It's 8 years late, so hey.
Just 8 years late. It's all right.
George R. R. Martin has nothing on me other than money and fame. So...
So why don't we help set everybody up, right? We've gone into the kind of the detail of book by book, but let's talk about the big series setup, right? Let's talk about the world of Kitty and all the fun stuff she's been doing to get us caught up to this point before we bump them out of this universe.
Basically, the entire conceit of the series is that my heroine, Katherine Kitty Kat, yes, Kitty Kat, her parents have a sense of humor, discovers that the Roswell rumors are true, but with a twist. The aliens are here to help us, and as a side benefit, they're all gorgeous. The female aliens that she nicknames the Dazzlers are sapiosexual, so they don't care about brains and brain capacity. So to them, the hottest person on the planet is Stephen Hawking, followed very closely by Neil deGrasse Tyson and his wife. So they're very brainy. There's a lot of action, and Kitty ends up getting involved to save the day, and she does so with her knowledge of pop culture, comics, hairspray, and rock and roll. And that's Touched by an Alien, and that's where it starts, and it just continues. We follow Kitty's journey as she gets more and more involved in Centurion Division. She's in a relationship with one of the aliens. She has relationships with other people that come to heads in certain places. But along the way, one of the things I wanted to make sure to never do is what I call Iron Man 2. I mean, it is Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 was like, hey, you remember in Iron Man how there was a bigger, badder Iron Man that Iron Man had to fight? We're going to do that, but with more Iron Man. And it was just like, something else has to be creative. So I never wanted to do that. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't the same villains, the same situation, the same dangers. So I do what I call local books, so earthbound books, and then I do external books. So something's coming in from outer space, or they're in outer space, or whatever. So Book 2 is very internal. Book 3 is an external. Book 4 is internal. Book 5 is kind of a combo. Book 6 is definitely external, and so on. So when you get to book 17, book 16 was very external. They were in Aliens Abroad. They were thrown around the galaxy, and they're just getting back from that when, like I said, Kitty and 11 others were zapped in their smaller spaceship, their sports car spaceship, into this other universe. So this is 3 externals in a row, because book 16, Aliens Abroad, is external. Aliens Like Us is external, and Aliens Like Them is also external. That's coming out in December. That's book 18. So Kitty pretty much by now has gained a lot of power, a lot of powers, and other things, all explained within the book, but she is definitely still kicking butt, taking names, and being very, very sarcastic and mouthy about it. Probably her strongest strength is that she just won't bow. Oh, you're a king? That's great. I'm not bowing. Oh, are you incredibly strong superconscious? Not bowing, right? She just will not do that. It's like they get knocked down, they get back up again. So,
like Pet Cemetery.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And Kitty pretty much functions with rock and roll. So there's always a soundtrack going for her. And you find out in book 8 that there is actually a very, very powerful being who is helping her very subtly, but he's helping her. And the way he helps her is through music. So he's along with them in this journey too, which makes the journey a little more dangerous, because he's who snapped them into this universe. And if he doesn't snap them back, they may be stuck. So we've got all that going on, and he's a very important character. Like I said, he's been in the series, just nobody knew about it until book 8, including me. I'm an extreme linear author, so when I found out about this character, that's when only you found out about this character. But it was kind of great. I'm like, oh, that's always been there. I get it, right? I get what he's doing. So we're just following Kitty's life. I mean, she starts out basically a happy-go-lucky single girl marketing manager in Pueblo Caliente, Arizona, which is standing in for Phoenix. And along the way, she gets involved to save the day over and over again. She meets the man she's going to marry. They have kids. And somehow they keep getting shoved into higher and higher and more important positions. And right now, her husband, is the president of the United States, making her the first lady. And they're no more thrilled about that than they were about being the head diplomats for American Centurion, which they were also shoved into. So there's a lot of falling upwards in their careers that they're not necessarily planning on, but it happens anyway. So one of the positives is that it's fun, and I get to write something different for them. They're not doing the same jobs that they were doing in book 1, 2, and 3. Those jobs are gone. They're moved on into something else. Other people are doing those jobs, and both Jeff, Kitty's husband, and Kitty would tell you that they miss those jobs more than anything else. They liked those jobs. They haven't liked any job they've been shoved into since the end of book 4. They were shoved, and they keep getting shoved, and they don't like it, but there's nothing they can do, because at their cores, they're going to take care of everybody. Kitty is going to protect all the innocents, her friends, and her family with whatever she has to do. And Jeff is very similar, and he's also very responsible. He's a leader, and he wants to make sure that he's doing a good job. He doesn't want to fall down on it. So basically, the president and first lady of the United States and almost all of the presidential cabinet were kidnapped in book 16 and drawn around the galaxy. So most of those folks are still in it's not our galaxy, it's Kitty's galaxy. But like I said, there are 12 of them that are in the steampunk world. So along the way, people are added in. You do lose some people, usually to death. Some to trading sides, but Kitty's one of her greatest skills is that she can flip enemies, and make them loyal to her. So that's where we're at. So she has to really use that a lot in Aliens Like Us, because they look like spies to most of the people they're meeting, or worse. So there's a lot of whoa, no, coming in peace. We're happy to leave. Just don't shoot us. So, but they will save the day, though. The day is not fully saved yet in Aliens Like Us. It is really a two-parter. Aliens Like Them will conclude the steampunk excitement, but they're in the middle of saving the day when Aliens Like Us ends. But this time, it's not an 8-year wait on a cliffhanger. So I got that going for me.
6 years, right?
And I think it was 8. It was
I mean, there'll be 6 years for the next.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, just a few months coming out. Aliens Like Them comes out in December. This December. So
This December of
2026.
Okay.
Yes. No, that's a book. That's, like I said, I was telling you guys before we actually started recording. I just got the cover for Aliens Like Them, and I love it. But the artist put something on it that isn't actually in the book. I'm like, every other cover that Ginger Blue has done, every item is in the books, right? Including that cat is definitely in Aliens Like Us. The people are wearing a hat like that. They've got the ray gun right. So I'm like, readers are going to wait the entire book for what this is. And if I don't put it in there, they're going to be very disappointed. So I talked to, the artist is like, and so I talked to my editor, and she's like, yeah, I agree with you. You can do it, do it quickly, but where are you thinking? We kind of brainstormed. She really likes where I'm going to put the item. So that's back, but that's not going to delay the book's release. It's just going to make it a little bit longer. Not a lot longer, just a little bit longer.
So Ken, if I remember correctly, we're diving. Isn't this the wrap up for Exiled Ascendants?
It is. It's the last book that we'll be doing in the series, but at least for now. We actually have at the end a 10-year wrap up of how that goes. But we started off the safety of numbers, which was to gather up your family and into one place and be safe. And at the end of book 7, that's what we've done. Up to a point. We've got some other issues going on, but
safe is relative in this world.
Yeah, so I figured 7 was a good place to stop, and I like I said, I was telling you earlier, I just finished wrapping a new book for a new series today at 1, and I have started book 2, and I'm 20,000 words into that one, 17,000 into that one.
Great.
So
let's talk about the big setup here for Exiled Ascendants, right? Because it's lit RPG.
It is a lit RPG, and basically it starts off in New Orleans with somebody who hates New Orleans. I can't imagine who that is.
Again, biopic.
And basically it's what would happen to your life if it was suddenly gamified. You got screens, a character sheet, and classes. And yes, Rufus, it's fine. My cat decided she was going to slap me. Just basically what would happen to your life if everything in the world turned into a video game. And also the city you're living in is going to be turned into a dungeon in 48 hours. So at that point in time, it's gathering up your friends and family and getting out of town to collect the rest of your friends and family. And so we've done the cross-country thing from New Orleans to wiping out a big vampire horde in Mississippi, that was fun. Got to kill a lot of people in that one. And then we got to Texas where we used the Greys. So the Greys are actually a big part of the story. And I really hate ending the book the way I at this time, but it felt like the right place to do it. But there's a lot more stuff that when I have free time, I'm just going to add to it because it's a lot of fun. But it's one of those things where you're either going to do the audience justice or you're going to give yourself a lot of fun. And at that point in time, it's like, yeah, we got to give the readers what they deserve, not what I want. So, basically, I just had them trekking across country and up through California, and I mixed in, of course, all the things that I dislike about California, with the exception of raisins and potato salad. And I didn't put that in, but I did get some Chads and other people. We also have the Karen class, which is one of my favorites. And so it's just been a lot of fun just getting across country, and we finally get to meet his crazy mother-in-law who has wanted nothing more than to shoot him throughout the entire thing because, he hasn't been up there taking care of her. So now, mind you, this is a woman who hates him, but then again, she wants to just shoot him. And so we finally get to that point. So that was her Valentine's Day gift. She got to shoot him. So that was fun. But yeah, it's just a lot of it. We finally got to the point where the original quest, Safety in Numbers, was completed, technically. And I say technically because there's a lot more stuff that goes wrong in that first year, but we did the first 6 months. And we fulfilled that one quest, which was Safety in Numbers. And I really, like I said, it's one of those things where a complete series where everybody's happy, the audience anyway, or a complete series where I'm happy, and that doesn't happen. Rufus. So, but that's pretty much it. Ian has been on this road and journey. All he really wanted was a nap. That's how this whole thing started. He wanted to nap and he wanted to get off his lawn moment. He wanted to go yell at some kids and say, "Get off my lawn." And the aliens took that from him. And now he's pissed off.
So again, a biopic.
Yeah. Except for I do not want my get off the lawn moment because that would mean having to interact with people. And I do not want to have to deal with that. That's one great thing. I was mentioning this earlier too. Is I have my favorite restaurant, which is a little sushi place. It's a hole in the wall. Okay, just a little bitty place, and they closed up because of a hurricane wrecked the building. They've rebuilt the building. It's been there for a year, and they're finally going to be opening sometime either this week or next week. And so I can go there. They get me I don't even order. I just go in, I show up at the sushi bar, they give me my food, and I go home. Nobody bothers me. It's wonderful. So yes, other than the get off my lawn moment, it's pretty much I'm grumpy, I'm tired, and it would be really great not to have my joints hurt anymore. I think I'd take a system world just for that. Just to be able to not have my back hurt, or if it does hurt, I can get a heal and be done. That would be nice.
So, the big part of every story are the characters we're going with. And so, because Jenny, being in a world this large and stretching for this long, Kitty's done a little bit of character development. But when we look at all the folks that are in this universe outside of Kitty, who's your favorite person's character development?
So who do I think has the best character growth? Character development?
Best or your favorite, right? I know it's which one of your children's the favorite. I know.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I make sure every character has growth. So no one's the exact same person they were in Touched by an Alien by aliens like us. They're
Fungus is
different.
growth too, so
Yeah, I mean, everybody has to grow. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the definition of a novel. Growth has to happen in some way. Growth, learning, etc. Um, hmm. Well, I can say and he's on this trip, so I can say whose character surprised me the most. I've talked about it before. It's Benjamin Seiler. He comes in book 9. He was supposed to be literally not even have a name. Kitty was like calling him the helpful servant, and he's supposed to do some things, give Kitty some information, and die. And in the time I'm writing, he's just like, no, I'm super important, man. You just do not want to let me go. And he just pushed and shoved and pushed and shoved and pushed and shoved. He became an instant fan favorite. He is now involved in everything. Of all the characters that could have been going out of the 12, he was just like, well, of course I'm going. Who else are you bringing? Oh, we don't need them because I'm here. Oh, we don't need that guy. I'm here, right? It's just like, oh my God, he's the pushiest character I've ever written. He remains the pushiest character. I named my cat after him. And everybody's like, when the cat does his crazy eyes attack, all my friends are like, you named him after an assassin, so what did you expect? Right? I'm like, well, he was just super pushy in Rescue, and that was Seiler. So that's his name. So I have to say, of the character that's the most pushy of any character I've ever written, ever, in any series, it's Benjamin Seiler. So he has a lot of growth because he wasn't even supposed to be there today, right? So he has a lot of growth. You learn a lot about him. He's gone from being, I'm not a joiner and I'm not going to be with you, to being like integral to the team. And, he's like, I'm a rough and tough assassin bad guy, and he still is, but he's also a very good guy. And there's reasons for that. And you see them, and much as his adopted daughter, Lizzie, who in the Alien collection, Mr. Dash Saves the World, is their origin story. It's Lizzie's origin story for sure, and it's also really Seiler's origin story, because Lizzie is why he stops, I'm just doing it for this reason, and starts doing it because he now has a kid he loves and he's going to take care of. So I would say he has to be. I also love Lizzie. Lizzie, starts, when I first wrote her, she was 11. In that short story, she's 11, and now she's a mouthy teenager. And she's become Jeff and Kitty's ward. So she's, there are a lot of my two dads jokes, because she has Seiler, who's her dad, but Jeff is also her dad now, right? So, and I really see Lizzie as the character who can take up Kitty's torch more than any other character in the series. So her growth is great. Her growth is ongoing. I mean, she's 16 right now in the series, so she's got ways to go. But really all of them, and everybody's going to be like, we didn't mention this one. I have over 500 named characters in the series right now, and all of them have some kind of growth. So my favorites are favorites for different reasons. I mean, I love Chucky, Charles Reynolds. I love that character. I love James Reeder. I love these characters for different reasons. But again, it would have to be Seiler for the pushy, shovey nature of his beast, and Lizzie right along with him.
Ken, when we kind of look at because again, I'm not going to let you pick your main character because it's just a biopic. So outside of him,
actually, my favorite character in the Exiled Ascendants is going to be Biff. I personally dislike puns, but that's how he gets under Ian's skin. So he does a lot of puns, and I make Andrew, which is my narrator, sing disco with a bad New Jersey accent and only the female parts. So he has to sing all the disco in the female voice with a bad New Jersey accent. So that just makes my heart happy. So he is my favorite character of all because I get to torture Andrew. And just because I just. So do you know who KLF is? The band?
I'm
Okay.
at least aware they exist, yes.
Okay.
Who are we talking? KMFDM?
KLF. And it's they have a song out there, and I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but I have made him sing that for on this one for What Time Is Love, with basically what amounts to Jack Black and him singing out of tune, because the dude cannot carry a tune. So it's great. It just makes me very happy. So you got that, and then you got him singing Dua Lipa songs, because that's technically disco. Same with Kylie Minogue. And then we got Peaches and Herb, but he can only sing the Peaches part. You know, so the Herb part is sang by the System, and the Peaches part is sang by Biff. And you have no idea how happy this makes me. And I just picture people who don't necessarily do the audio, what they must be thinking in their head, because it's like it makes no sense. And then he's obsessed with CrossFit to top it all off. The only thing I could have done to make him more annoying was make him vegan. Vegan CrossFit, who has to sing disco. Now he's a bard, so that's his ability. So he is locked into disco only, female parts only, and he's never taken a singing lesson in his entire life. And I think the favorite part that I did was when he finally they get to San Diego, and they meet up with his parents. They do a great big hologram show of baby pictures of him, and he was a hideous baby. Like, way too much hair. He looked like Emperor Palpatine. And they had him dressed as they had pictures of him dressed as the Gordon Fisherman. So there's that. Cousin It. All these, they just dressed up the baby in horrible ways, knowing that this was going to come back to haunt him. And so, yes, I have had way too much fun with Biff. As far as characters who won't go away, that would be in A Session of the Stoneborn. And it was a love interest not even a love interest, it was just a female character in the book for Gavin, and turned into a girlfriend situation. But she was supposed to die, get stabbed in the stomach with a knife, and die. The first quarter of the book, didn't die. Then I tried killing her again 3 books later, and still didn't die. So yeah, she was, and the one person who was supposed to survive, which was in the companion series, which is The Warden Awakens. I forget which one it is.
You gotta keep up. I mean,
Warden Global. Yeah, I've got 19 books now, 19, 20 books between them. But in the Warden Global series, it is one of the main character has basically a split piece of a god stuck in his head, and the god thing was supposed to live through the whole series. Died within the first 5 pages of him being introduced. It's like, okay, I actually got up from the computer and I walked off. 2 days it took me to get back to the computer. That I was like, okay, that wasn't supposed to happen, and now I have to figure out how the rest of this works. So yeah, the people who are supposed to die don't, and the people who are supposed to live don't. You know. So yeah, but that Biff is my favorite, by the way. Not any of my main characters. None of them have brought me as much joy as Biff. like I said, I should have made him vegan, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because, I would have him screaming, "I'm a vegan" all the time. So
A
it's,
vegan in the apocalypse does not sound like it would work well to me.
so yeah.
You could have him, maybe that's what, well, if you loop back around to it, maybe that's what you do to torture him in the next round is he gets bitten so he can't eat meat.
Oh, that would be great. Okay, maybe that will do that because when I do eventually get back to that would be the only thing I could do to make him more annoying. Because right now they're feeding everybody barbecue, so for him to start turning that down because he's obsessed with it would be just fantastic. A born again vegan.
So looking at, one of the things is when you build a series with a lot of books, right? One of the things I think that fans don't necessarily get is all the things you're trying to keep track of. Yeah, eye colors are going to change. All sorts of things just go awry because characters decide to change. Sometimes a character just decides they're gonna go and change. So Jenny, looking at the greater universe here, right? The Kittyverse.
Yeah.
If we look at the greater Kittyverse, what has really kind of surprised you the most out of that from a writer perspective, creator perspective, in terms of that learning about pulling this universe together and trying to keep it together when you got 500 plus characters all nattering at you in your head?
Is the answer Benjamin Siler shoving himself into the series as hard as possible? Or is it that I practically could go get a degree in astrophysics for my soft science fiction series because I have had to spend so much time figuring out who's from where, how far away is it, how would that work? I literally, the pages I've got, that was actually a surprise. I never thought I was going to end up having to know so much about space astronomy and math about it. So all the math, so much math, none of which I force onto my readers. But I have to know where everybody is, and I have to know how far away that is, and I have to know how fast do I want their faster than light to be, right? Because there's varying degrees of how fast you can make fake things. So especially for Aliens Abroad, I had to really figure out where were they going, how were they doing it. I lost count of the different number of maps I was looking at of space and everything else. And then you have to realize that any map we see of space, it looks so close together and it's so vast in between. So that was fun. Characters talking to me, I'm used to. That happened when I was learning to write. So the first time it happens is wonderful. Then every other time you're like, okay, talk to me now, right? But that's been great. The logical steps for where Kitty and Jeff have gone in their careers, from we kill super beings for a living to we're now the president and first lady. Plus, they're also the king and queen regent for the Anakuso Royal Empire out of Alpha 4. So they've got a lot going on. So some of that is kind of shocking, but I wasn't unprepared for it. I think one of the things, though, my now past editor, but then editor at Daw, I was trying to come up with, she's like, okay, what are your next books, when they were doing contracts? And so I gave her titles, and she picked the titles that sounded good to her, which completely changed the trajectory of the series. I am so linear in how I write that if I had used a different title, the book would be different, and therefore the series would go in a different way. So I don't remember where it would have gone now, but is it Alien in the House? Might have been Alien in the House, Alien Rescue, Alien Collective. If she hadn't approved Alien Rescue, the series would be very different. Sorry, not Alien Rescue, Alien Research. That was a book I added in because no amount of math could make Jeff the right age to be vice president. And so I said, well, I could put a book in and it would age. And she's like, well, what would it be? And I'm like, oh, it'd be Alien Rescue and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, okay, tell your agent to send a contract, right? I'm sending the contract over. But if she had said, no, I don't want that book, I want you to just go to this other book, the trajectory of the series changes because characters that could only come in Alien Research would never have come in. So I don't know that it surprises me because I'm used to how I write, but it is something that if it's a different title, the book is going to be different than what? If I couldn't have done Aliens Like Us and Aliens Like Them, it would have been completely different. They would be different books. So it's not really a surprise, but it's something that I don't think that, readers in general even know about or understand. Well, why would it be like that? It's like, because I'm title driven. I'm very fortunate. I've had very few of my titles ever changed. And they have been slightly altered. The 2 or 3 that have been changed has all been slight alteration. Either remove those words, change this one word, that kind of thing. But only like 3 in my entire career. I'm really good with titles, but I'm also really good with titles because that's what I'm writing. So I don't, linear writers are discovery writers, right? So as a discovery writer, everything that surprises you surprised me. Wow. Right. The biggest surprise is not actually out of this series. It's the Night Beat, the Necropolis, first book of the Necropolis Enforcement File series. When every reader hits the point where they go, "Oh my God, I didn't see that coming." Neither did I. So that was the biggest shock. Kitty's never surprised me like that. But because she's very loud and calm and sure in my head. So she knows where she's going. She knows what we're doing kind of thing. But Victoria, definitely, we were both thrown by the revelations. But for the most part, if I'm not surprised, the reader's not going to be surprised. So many things surprised me, but nothing as big as the twist in the Night Beat, which, like I said, is not in this series. So beyond that, really, Siler was quite the surprise. He was not supposed to be around, and yet he shoved his way in book 9 into a major supporting character role, and just stayed there. Happy as a little pig in mud, that man, as long as he is actually in the action and being talked about, he's good. So he remains a surprise that, how did you convince me to do this? And it's always like, you couldn't do this without me. And it's like, well, now I couldn't. You're right. Once you came in, you changed everything. So.
Ken, how about you? I mean, looking at creating, nice big lit RPG world and kind of at least wrapping up this part of the arc, what'd you learn in this process?
Well, for this, so I'm big on spreadsheets. So all their physical stuff stays pretty much the same. I don't think I really ever screwed that up. But but my thing is I always put events. So I have a historical line like I did for my other series, the Nine Realms Saga, and basically have major events. And then I do stuff to get to those major events. And the stuff in between is not always planned. Some of the stuff is all there, who they are and what they're doing. But the stuff from go to point A to point B and then to C is the road that I did not plan out. So that's how that goes. But as far as what I learned was I'm trying to learn to think smaller because I still got to get back to the Nine Realms Saga because in that series I still have, if I stick to my plan, 20 more books to go for that one. I got 12. No, I got 13. So I only have 19 more books. So if everything stays to plan, I have 19 more of those to go. So that's why I'm trying not to repeat my mistakes. So that's where I'm going with that. And for everyone who's asking, yes, I am coming back to the Nine Realms Saga. Yes, it will be a little time yet. I am still burned from doing 13 books in 7 years on that. That was a lot for me. So I'm still trying to get over myself and get back to that, which is why I'm doing these other series to make myself feel better. So yes, I'm trying to learn from previous mistakes that I've made. But I'm also trying to be a little more, like I said, the events are all planned, but I'm trying to be a little more forgiving on the plot line so they don't derail me so badly sometimes. So that's it for those. As far as titles go, I never know what the title's going to be until I am forced to pick one. So for instance, the one I just finished is called Naraka currently. Now, of course, it's been called, it's had 5 other titles up to this point. So right now it's just being named after the place it's taking place, it's happening in. So when I get finished doing the stuff I'm going to do with it, I will then decide on a title. So titles are usually the last thing for me, which probably isn't great, but it's just the way it is. So, but as far as everything else goes, it's just I'm trying to learn from previous mistakes. So,
Well,
easy.
if we, remember, always try to make new mistakes.
Yeah, well,
It hurts the old one's feelings, though, if you don't make those mistakes ever so often.
Yeah, I've made several new mistakes with this one because I planned out a much bigger world, and I was like, okay, you need to stop, take a breath, and do what you should do for the audience, and not what you should do for you. Because a lot of this is because of my own my compulsions to finish certain things. I'm a completionist, I guess, and I need to complete it. And I'm trying to not do that. I'm trying to complete it for everybody else, but save myself some heartache in the process.
When I wrote Touchman Alien, I had no idea they'd be in a steampunk universe in book 18, just in case anybody's wondering. No, I didn't map out the series. It just goes where it's supposed to go. And that's nice.
I thought you said you had 109 books planned in the series.
I'm willing. Honestly, I know you're being puckish, but honestly, I'm now contracted through book 21, because I got to add in another. So after Aliens Like Them, which is book 18, then it's Alien Rescue, which is 19, Alien Galaxy, which is 20. I'm 22. And then Alien Dystopia, which I wanted to put in between Galaxy and Reckoning, and Ginger Blue said 5, and then Alien Reckoning. That'll be 22. When I get to Alien Reckoning, that's where I have a reckoning of, do I continue on with Kitty as the main character, or do I launch what I would call the spin-off, and with Lizzie as the main character, and Kitty, Lizzie would be in the Kitty role, and Kitty would be in the Angela role, for those that read it. So Kitty would move into the advising mother role, who's still kick-ass and doing things, but is not the day-to-day action person you're following. Because I know where Kitty's career is going, and I don't know that I can have her as active as she needs to be to continue to be the lead of the series. And I'm going to decide when I'm there. Normally, when I'm writing, I see the next somewhere between 2 to 4 books ahead. So when I was writing Touch by an Alien, I saw Alien Tango, Alien the Family, and Alien Proliferation. And then as I got to like Alien the Family, I'm like, oh, I know what comes after Proliferation and blah, 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 blah. So I don't know what comes after Alien Reckoning yet. That's several years away now because I moved on back onto a 1 book a year contract. Because it was, Ken's right. It's hard to do that many books in a short period of time. I was on a 2-book-a-year contract with Dawn, and that's great until it's not, until you're like, I can't do this anymore. Life has hit me really hard. And then, things fall apart. So I'm on a multiple books contracts, but it's different series. So I don't want to be in a position where I'm ever going to be late on an Alien book ever again. So going to 1 a year, I think is a lot safer for my sanity, for fan expectations and so forth. But I definitely, like I said, Alien Reckoning is the point for me where I'll have the reckoning of what am I doing? Do we stop Kitty here, or do we roll on? Do we roll on with Lizzie? Do we stop the whole series and just say, hey, it's been awesome, or do we keep going? So, and I'll know when I'm there because Kitty will share. That's what we would expect.
So, Ken, do you want to give a quick preview of the new book or the new series that?
Okay. So I base it. So again, Biff, his father, Jasper. Now, mind you, Biff's real name is Buford, but for whatever reason, his father wanted to call him Biff. And he was always like a hippie surfer at one point. And in the 80s, he was basically Don Johnson and Crockett in Miami Vice, which meant he was an actual drug dealer who dated a stripper dressed as a nun who has taken that to an extreme and made that her identity for the apocalypse. And she sells drugs that turn you into a zombie. And so that messed up California in a bad way. So that's basically it's all Biff's fault. So like I said, he is truly my favorite character. But yeah, so to sum it up, it's stripper nun sells drugs and addicts most of California and trying to take over the entire West Coast. So, and they have to stop that before they terraform the planet and turn into who remembers the Reanimator? The movie. So
just rewatched it about 2 months ago.
Yeah, so basically all the zombies are Reanimator corpses with glowing yellow blood and the whole bit. So I kind of took it and went, yeah, and we're going to give them bone armor. That's impenetrable stuff. And so, yeah, they have to face off against that. So that was a lot of fun. And then we tied it back to the Nazis and their experimentation with a alien ship. So we got alien tech, Nazis, and drugs with a stripper dressed as a nun, who's also an ATF agent. I forgot to put that in.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was fun.
He's a Renaissance woman.
So,
well, before we get out of here, let's make sure everybody knows where to find you guys and, of course, where to pick up the copies of the new releases and add them to that summertime to be read pile. So, Jenny?
GiniKoch.com. If you want to join my free newsletter, hook me up. You can do so from the bottom of most of the pages of that website. I am all over Facebook, X, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Pinterest. And you can find Aliens Like Us and all the Alien series, as a matter of fact, which 1 through 16 were re-released by Ginger Blue. and the Alien Collection, Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, Kobo, Apple Books. Some booksellers will have them, and you can get them from me at any con. I'm at the start of my second round of con season, and this is the big one. So I'll be out and about, and you can get all of them from me personally.
Ken?
I'm at KenLangeAuthor.com. That's with an E, Ken Lange with an E. Because if you get the other one, you get somebody else totally different. I do not write murder mysteries.
Well, the bodies definitely hit the floor, but
Yeah, I do.
There's no mystery as to why.
Yeah, there's no mystery, but mostly it's due to my main characters killing everybody they see. So, and or singing bad disco. And you can find me on most of the book websites for my books to pick up, which is Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Google, you name it. I'm pretty much there. And you can find me on social media, mostly on Facebook, because I'm still terrible at the rest of them. So.
And you can find me at jamespnettles.com, authoressentialsworkshops.com, creatingpros.com, and of course, here at ConTinual. Go stack up those to-be-read piles. It's time to dive into that summer reading. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again soon.